Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to Forgotten Weapons. I'm Ian McCollum and I will be your host on the channel for this year and hopefully many more to come as well. If you are new here, this video will give you an idea of what you can expect from Forgotten Weapons. If you are a longtime returning viewer, well, this video is going to have some news for you about what's cool and upcoming specifically for 2021. So, to start with the basics, Forgotten Weapons is a video channel and companion website, forgottenweapons.com, about interesting information about unique and unusual firearms. So what I like to do is find interesting firearms and convey their stories to you. And sometimes that's a story of particular affiliation with a person or a historical event. Sometimes it's a story about the weapon's development. Sometimes it's just a story about how the gun is mechanically interesting or unusual. There's always something of particular note about any given gun, and I try to find that story and present it to you. So they're not strictly forgotten weapons. I know that's the name of the channel, but it's not actually a pure litmus test, more of a guiding principle. There are times when we want to look at very common or very well-known firearms, and sometimes when we want to look at the totally obscure and unknown variations that never were successful. And I think that the unsuccessful versions can tell us a lot about why the successful ones were that way, and the successful ones can tell us a lot about what happened to unsuccessful versions. So you'll see both of those on the channel. I do my best to keep this a strictly apolitical channel, so you won't hear me talking about current political events or ideologies or that sort of thing. Of course, from time to time, we do cover firearms that may have been involved in pretty sensitive historical events. And so I do my best to present those in a neutral manner. There are a lot of groups out there that could be freedom fighters or could be terrorists, depending on your perspective. So I will do my best to tell you the facts and leave the political decisions up to you. To be a little more specific, the guns that we're going to be looking at on the channel come from a wide variety of times and places. They can come from anywhere on the planet, although of course they more typically tend to come from Europe and the United States, as those are the most prolific places of firearms manufacture throughout modern history. And they tend to be military firearms from the cartridge era, so typically about 1850 and forward. Although that is by no means a strict rule, there are plenty of early muzzle-loading firearms that are quite interesting that we have covered and will continue to cover on the channel. Now, as for specific video schedule, I publish 6 videos per week. Starting last year, I gave myself 1 day off a week, which is kind of nice, and it lets me work on some other projects that I'll touch on in a minute. Those 3 videos, you will get 3 specific gun videos, typically Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, covering a particular gun and its story or its history. You will then get 1 video that is actual live fire on the range content. That's typically Saturday, and that could be anything from a pocket pistol up to a piece of artillery. Then Tuesday and Thursday are sort of a miscellaneous grab bag of subject matter. That'll include Q&As, book reviews, assessments of specific mechanical systems, commentaries on various questions, which can sometimes be current events like ongoing military trials that I have some basis to make a commentary on, or they could be historic events or just commonly asked questions or misunderstandings. Where does he get all of those wonderful toys? Many people ask. Well, the answer is from a wide variety of places. I've spent many years building a network of connections with individuals and organizations that allow me to get my hands on some really cool guns. Virtually none of the stuff that you see on the channel actually belongs to me. So I source the content for this channel from everything from private collectors, private and public museums, firearms manufacturers, sometimes law enforcement and police organizations that have extensive reference collections, auction houses, pretty much any sort of commercial, government, or private organization that has a good collection of firearms is a potential place for me to go and film. Now, this is, of course, both in the United States, where I live, and also abroad. I try to travel about twice a year abroad to do video trips to bring you guys cool content. It's funny, I watched last year's State of the Channel video before filming this, and in that I talked about a number of interesting international trips that I had planned. Well, of course, none of those happened. 2020 was a bit rough for everybody, I think. Hopefully that will change here in 2021. I'm already working on some cool plans for some international travel that should bring you some really cool material. At any rate, some of the individuals and organizations that I work with prefer to remain anonymous, which I'm happy to respect. Some of them prefer to be accredited. So you may see at the beginning or the end of videos that I will credit an organization or a person, and that's why. And if I don't credit them, maybe it's a gun that I own, maybe it's an individual or a group that just isn't interested in being publicly recognized. So you'll see both of those. As I'm sure you'll understand, not every group that allows me to film is interested in having their guns actually fired. So there are a number of places where I can and do shoot the firearms that you see on video. I love doing that when I'm able to. There are often things that you can learn about firearms, both mechanically and functionally and practically, only by actually shooting them. And if they just sit on a shelf, there are elements to the designs that remain undiscovered. However, of course, understandably, there are lots of organizations that are not willing to have their guns fired. Usually museums, but also plenty of private collectors. So if I have the opportunity, if I'm able, I shoot the stuff that we have on camera. Most of the time I do not. In general, 2021 is going to be a continuation of the same thing that you've gotten used to in 2020 and earlier. 6 days of content a week, lots of travel to a variety of different sources for interesting firearms. I've got plenty of backlog still stacked up to have a wide variety of content for you this year, no matter what happens. However, there are some cool new things coming. One of those is, of course, my continued work with Headstamp Publishing. We've got some cool new books in the works. Our book on British bullpup rifles by Jonathan Ferguson is at the printer as I film this, and it will be released and in your hands in the first quarter of 2021. The next book we're going to be doing after that is actually one of my own. It is a book about Chinese domestic manufactured pistols of the warlord era. And if you've been watching, I've had a kind of a rotating supply of them going through here. So now you have to go back and rewatch that to check out those weird and interesting pistols. I think that's a book that a lot of people are going to be very interested in. It's been a tremendous amount of fun writing because, man, there is some really weird stuff in there. However, after that, we still have Max Popyanker's book on history of the Russian automat coming, and lots of other cool projects in the works. I'm also really excited that we're going to be going back to the roots of forgotten weapons a little bit this year with the archive project. This is something that I started talking about last year, and it's been going a little bit slower than I would have liked, but the site is actually in development now, and the goal is for this to be a freely accessible, open repository of primary source documentation about firearms and firearms history. So it's actually in development right now. The website is being built. I have some folks helping me with it that we have arranged. That's largely due to Patreon, which I'll talk about in a moment. But it's actually in the works, and at some point, probably about the middle of 2021, we'll go ahead and open that up to the public. My hope is that it will first off have a really useful depth of material on it, and it's also something that I want to open up to basically open public submission. So if you have interesting documents about development of a particular gun or guns, I'd love to be able to add them to the archive, make them widely available to everyone else. So that's the goal of the project. It's actually in the works now, and I'm very excited for when I will be able to formally present it to you guys once it's ready to open. I will wrap this up with a reminder of Forgotten Weapons' core mission, which is to archive and provide all of the information that I've just been talking about without a paywall or a subscription fee. It always has been free, and it always will be free. Obviously, it does cost money to maintain the site and to do this full-time. And for that, I am primarily reliant on Patreon. That's a site for voluntary monthly subscription donations to Forgotten Weapons. So if you like what you see, and if you'd like to help ensure that it continues to happen daily, or at least 6 days a week, please do consider heading over to Patreon. There are a number of perk levels over there. None of them give you access to firearms informative content that you won't get for free, but there is some behind the scenes footage for some levels of patrons, and there's also a perk level that allows you to see videos when I upload them, instead of having to wait typically 2 to 4 weeks longer to see them when they actually publish to the public. If you're not a big fan of Patreon, there are some other ways that you can support Forgotten Weapons. I have a channel over at Floatplane that I will link in the description. We also have a merchandise store that has some, I think, pretty cool stuff for sale. Some of it's cheap, some of it's fairly expensive. I think all of it's pretty cool. It is something that you might consider taking a look at. I also have a link to that down in the description below. I have some exciting hopes for some additional content distribution sources beyond YouTube and Floatplane, but I don't want to spoil those by talking about them before they actually become a reality. So hopefully that will come to pass this year. I am excited about it, but I think that's pretty much all I've got. A big thank you to everyone who's been a part of the channel so far. We're just shy of 2 million subscribers. I was really hoping we'd get it in time for New Year's 2021, but not quite. But hey, the channel's been going for, I think this is our 10th year, which is pretty cool. I'm very happy to have been able to do it. I'm very happy for the support of everyone who made it possible. Thanks for watching.